That which you most need to find is found where you least want to look. Welcome to the Sought and Found podcast, your gateway to the world of holistic health and wellness.
Okay, I haven't done a podcast in like 2 months, so kind of like a refresh. Well, yeah, I just wanted to start off with, I guess, a question. If you clicked on the link, you would probably want to know the answer to what and how could a frog poison actually heal you, and what is Kambo?
Well, so Kambo is a cocktail of there's over 100 of these biopeptides, which means they're symbiotic to the human body. So these biopeptides have so many different beneficial effects, from anti-cancerous, antibacterial, antiviral, lowering the blood pressure. So physically, there've been about maybe 20 or so that have been studied and isolated, and then they try to make medications from those. So biologically, it goes into the cells in your body and it's cleaning. So it's a physical cleanse, a cellular cleanse, but it's also an energetic, emotional cleanse, because we have, memory trapped in our cells of, trauma or anger, some, generational stuff that we carry, from our parents, from our grandparents. So this is, it's a magic cure-all, I would say. Not to cure everything, but it can certainly have miraculous results. So it's used for many, many different things.
And just to back up, if you didn't know what Kambo is, what is the actual substance? Is it a frog poison, from my understanding?
Yeah, it's a beautiful green tree frog with yellow like spots down the side of its body, and it's found in the Amazon basin. So Colombia, Brazil, and Peru. So there's certain tribes that use it, and they use it as the village doctor. So they use it for everything, snake bites. Often before they go hunting, they'll take Kambo because it'll give them luck and power, in the hunt. If somebody can't get pregnant, they would need to find a wife. So it's the village doctor, basically. And this beautiful frog.
How long it's been used for as a village doctor?
Hundreds of years. We don't really know, because it only came out in, I think it was the 1980s that Peter Gorman, this man, he brought it out and he brought it into the kind of Western view, I suppose. It's probably been used, like Ayahuasca. It's been used for a long time, but there seems to be a common kind of thread, a story around it. The Kashinawa, who are actually, I think it's a Brazilian tribe. I might be wrong there, but and the other tribes like the Matsis, who are actually in Peru, they have a story of their shaman. So the whole village was sick. The shaman Kampu, and everyone's dying. So he takes ayahuasca and he goes into the jungle, and he's shown through visions how to cool this frog down, how to collect this medicine, and how to apply it to his tribe. And he goes back and then he heals his tribe. So, when this man passed, it's believed that the spirit of this man, the shaman, is in the frogs also. And the way they're harvested is because they have no natural predators. So they're very docile, beautiful little creatures, and they gather around water holes, sort of little ponds in the Amazon, around the trees, and they just come down to lay their eggs. So there's a certain call. I haven't really practiced it enough. I won't do it now, but there's a call, to cool this frog, and then the frog will. It doesn't actually come down, but you have to really look with a torch, hunt, like to see this frog, and then to either get a stick and put it under the frog. It will just climb on the stick, or climb the tree and get the frog. And then once you have it, it doesn't resist at all. It's just sitting there. I mean, when I met the frog, he was like, kiss it, kiss it. So I was literally holding this big frog, kissing it on the lips, and it loved it. It was like, oh, another one. And then, climbed up onto my head. And then so we didn't actually extract the venom from that one. She was pregnant. But what you do is you put 4 stakes in the ground and you tie the legs, the wrists to the stakes, and then just tease, like putting something in the nostril or twiddling the toes. This frog, it starts to writhe and get irritated. And then from the back and the sides, this secretion comes, and then you scrape the secretion off and you put it on a wooden stick. And then the frog is released and put back into the tree, but it doesn't try and run away. It doesn't, so it's very, very chilled. It really is. I think it's
the frog armed in there.
Yes, well, hopefully,
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, to call the frog down, like it's, maybe we can just run through. Well, before we go, like how you would actually go about a Kambo ceremony. You said you were there when they were extracting the Kambo from the frog. So was that something you studied in the Amazon, or what would you call yourself? Are you a Kambo practitioner? And kind of where did you get called on this path? How did you learn about this frog medicine?
I mean, I've been into plant medicines for a long time, and I'd heard about Kambo and then I did a ceremony. I think there were 40 people in the ceremony. People, it wasn't held well at all. It was pretty crazy, really. But it was like a big transformation for me. And then it just kept coming into my life. And a friend of mine was serving Kambo, and I offered my space. She'd come once a week, I'd clear out my bedroom. She'd have a ceremony there. So I'd get to receive it or I could assist slightly. And then I got into a situation. It wasn't very well known at that time. She had left the islands where I was living, and I got into a situation where I actually really needed it. It sounds very out there, but I picked up like an energy, like a parasitic entity of through this situation. And I went into this kind of depression, actually, and I knew what it was, but I couldn't shift it. And I knew that this medicine would help me. So her ex-boyfriend turned up, and so we did the ceremony together. And when you do the burns, it's a very shallow burn, and we didn't really know what we were doing. So we did quite sort of probably a bit deeper than usual. So it was very strong, and it absolutely kicked this thing out of my energetic field, out of my body. And I just knew that I had to have this medicine for myself. So I managed to get hold of some. I started to give to myself. I had friends coming, asking me, and then I started having strangers coming, asking me. And so I was doing this for like a year. And then I ended up going to do a training. It was like a 2-week intensive training in Australia. And it was actually, it was more of a healing, I would say. And there was some, I learned some interesting stuff, more about around the safety and, what's normal and
What did day in the training look like?
A day of the training. Well, it was us taking a lot of medicine. So it was learning how to give to ourselves, how to give to others, how to do 3 ceremonies in 2 hours, very high doses. Wow. So, we were all just absolutely cracked open. You looked at someone's face after that and they looked 10 years younger. It's incredible because, all the kind of stuff that you hold internally is all expressed in the face. So as soon as you let this go, it's like people's faces were changing. And so it was quite incredible. It was really quite hard as well, we did a lot of medicine.
And how many people on this kind of journey together?
There were 13 people. Yeah. And then, I think maybe one person wasn't allowed to be a certified facilitator, So I don't know. I live in Asia and India. The certification isn't really important for me. For me, I feel like it's actually more the experience and the integrity with which you hold the medicine. So it doesn't matter if you have this bit of paper, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily a good, practitioner. So yeah, I love this medicine.
Is that what you would call yourself, a Kambo practitioner?
I mean, it's quite shamanic. I would never call myself a shaman, but I definitely have some magical skills through experiencing, hundreds of these ceremonies and like holding space for people. I'm a mother as well, so I feel like it's actually a really to take something through something that's quite uncomfortable and can be quite sort of scary as well, but to make people feel really comfortable and safe, is that's the key. And for me, I always say the two greatest relationships in my life, the most important, are my daughter and Kambo, because it's given me so much. So for me to be able to share this gift with others, it's like the most incredible thing I could do. I love it. Yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, myself and my fiance, we did the Kambo with you. Cameron. We probably, I think, like 2 or 3 years ago already. And it was it felt like a ceremony that was held with integrity. And throughout it, you sang. What were the kind of role of those songs? Where did you learn those kind of songs?
So the songs have kind of developed over time as well. Some songs at the beginning to call in the medicine. But I think the songs mostly is for, for like whatever the mood of the ceremony is. Are you going into a very heavy purge, a vomit, or are you just like resting for a moment? So maybe you need something more soft and more gentle. But also the words to the song can keep you very focused, on your intention and the healing of the medicine, as opposed to drifting off into, distraction or fear or something like that. So, I feel the energy of the medicine, with the drums sometimes can help to shift the purge. And I think it's probably nicer than just having a silence, because it kind of carries you through the ceremony. Distraction.
I would love to speak about the purge, because I think either if you've gone through something that is like an energetic or spiritual purge or cleanse like that, I think you get it. And if you haven't, it seems like the most bizarre concept that you would kind of put frog poison on you and voluntarily puke up stuff. Like quite recently, about a month ago, I did an Ayahuasca ceremony. It was, I think, my 5th time, and the last time I'd done one was a couple years before. But on the second night, I had like an energetic purge, and it actually felt like the whole thing was building up to this energetic release of something. And you obviously puke something out into a bucket, but on an internal spiritual level, there's something moving through you that's getting something that shouldn't be in you out. And like, I've definitely got quite a strong belief that it's probably the cause of a lot of I would say like illnesses and things like cancer or disease and stuff, where it's not even like repressing and expressing or a lack of expressing of certain emotions and stuff, but there's something like, maybe from a more holistic perspective, it's like deeper and it sits within you. So I don't know if you could just speak to maybe the energetics of the purge and what some people release and what that experience can be like after for them.
Yeah. I mean, people can come for all sorts of reasons, and gosh, an alarm going off in the background. Can I just please get that for a second?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whatever.
So, yeah, people can come for all sorts of reasons, and I've seen the most miraculous healings, PTSD for 5-10 years that, that's just suddenly shifted, or irritable bowel syndrome, like stomach problems, and then suddenly it's gone, or depressions, or, many, many weird and wonderful, strange pains in the leg, things that can just miraculously be cleared because, I think if you go to a doctor, they're healing, maybe, or they're giving a medication for the symptom, but the actual root of most of the disease or, sickness in the body or mental sickness is coming from an energetic place. So say, you're like, oh, my mother had breast cancer, my grandmother had breast cancer. It's because generationally you're storing, mostly like it's grief that you would store in your chest area. So, if you're still carrying that grief, if you go and take ayahuasca and you heal some of that, you have a purge, you release some of that, then the chances of you getting the breast cancer are, minimal, because it's the cellular memory, and it's the memory in the DNA as well. So, with these medicines, it's like you have the skills to clear the energetic roots of the, disease, and it can be incredibly powerful without actually having to know exactly how it works or why it works. So, I think just through seeing and having some of these experiences, it's quite amazing. And can I ask for you, did you have, you had your intention, but did you have your intention, did you manage to clear? Because I feel like it's about taking things out that we don't need. So, okay, I don't need this. I don't need to carry this anger. I don't need to carry the shame. I don't need to carry, limiting self-beliefs. And once it's out, it's out. Did you have good results with your ceremony?
Well, yeah, I'd love to go back to the
okay.
even just the one we did, the Kambo one, because I did feel, for me, like I think alcohol has always been quite a tricky relationship with me, and there was a weird shift after the Kambo ceremony we did with you that like as soon as I would drink and kind of get past the tipsy point, that was it for me. Like I didn't want to pursue more alcohol, or the drinking of more alcohol, which I guess for me and my younger self has been like a problem in the past, or something you working on. But for me, like there's been like big energetic releases, and kind of like a more openness to trusting in the universe. But I'm quite fascinated in the integration part, because I do feel it's kind of easy to release something and feel like you're all fixed, and then kind of fall back into an old habit, and then it's like you're almost starting from zero again, but you get back to like the same as you were before. So that's been like kind of part of my journey through the plant medicine, and I've only done the one Kambo ceremony with you, but it's been a journey to live the lessons learned in the ceremony, and actually like embody like person that's come out of this energetic release, and not fall back into old patterns, I guess.
It's a constant journey. I think as long as you're kind of moving in the trajectory of like wanting to see and wanting to heal yourself, as opposed to like, don't want to look at that, no, I'm fine. It's like, it's always, you're never going to be, for me, I'm never going to be like some purist, it's like I'm always going to have a little glow out every now and again, or whatever it is. It's like I don't want to live my life like that, but I want to look inside, and I want to clear, and then your life kind of generally gets more healthy. The more internally healthy you are, it's like naturally just unfolds without having to try, just happens.
And I don't think it's like the highway directly upwards. It's more like go on the back roads.
The scenic route.
It's a journey. Yeah, the scenic route to get there. But I think as long as you enjoy the way and the drive there, Um, yeah, so when you actually extracted the Kambo, was that done in the Amazon? Like, have you gone and experienced this kind of stuff in the Amazon or other plant medicines?
Extracting the Kambo from the frog. No, I didn't. I was out there.
Yeah.
I just was out in October, and it was so dry. It was the driest that the Amazon had been in over 100 years. And the place Iquitos, like normally it's a city and it's built on stilts, on this river, and it was so far out you could hardly see the river. So every day the Amazon was getting drier and drier. So it was really difficult. We could hear the frogs, but we couldn't get them done. And it was 4 nights hunting, and then finally we found this beautiful frog. And my guide, he said he'd never actually seen a pregnant frog. So she was heavily pregnant. So he didn't want to extract any medicine. And I was like, absolutely, yeah, that felt in alignment for me. So physically, I haven't done it. Like, I know how it's done and I've, met the frog, but I haven't had the chance to extract the medicine. But I will. Maybe next year I'll go back and do some more time in the jungle. Yeah.
So what was the purpose of your trip to the Amazon?
Well, I was going to... I was going to... do a Dieta actually in the Amazon with a magical tree. So it's 5 nights of ayahuasca in about 10 days.
Yeah.
And you're dieting on the roots of this master teacher. It's a tree called Noya, and that she has bioluminescent leaves. And when you drink this tea, you have to purge a lot of density to be able to meet this incredible being, basically. And it was the first diet I'd ever done in the jungle. You can diet many different plants. This one was,
You were listening, you've never heard of the concept of a Dieta before.
Yes.
What does that entail?
Yeah.
What ceremony?
So I'm sure most people have heard of ayahuasca. The vine that comes from the Amazon. It's mixed with a leaf called chacruna, boiled down, and it's this kind of thick black brew. And it's this kind of grandmother energy. It's psychedelic, and it can be a bit of a marathon. And it's very important that it's held by the right person. And unfortunately, I'd say 95% of people serving it probably don't have the training or the experience to actually hold a safe space. So just be aware of that. So a dieta is where you diet on a plant that isn't ayahuasca. And this plant teaches you things. You build this connection with this plant and gives you certain healing. And but you use the ayahuasca as like a portal to, like, a way to open, to connect to the spirit of this teacher plant. So there's many different plants, but the Noya, there's 6 trees that they know about in the Amazon. And it has these bioluminescent leaves. It's very special. So I'd definitely like to go back next year and do that again and go meet some more frogs and harvest some medicine this time. Yeah.
Is it also like a purgative?
The ayahuasca is, and you have to go...
At the
ayahuasca is a purgative, but the diet, you have to have a special diet, for like 2-3 weeks before, special diet during, and then an after diet as well. So it's very limited, like what you can eat. You can lose quite a bit of weight doing it. You could go and go and go for months or weeks, or this was kind of a short one, but it's very powerful. Yeah.
And what was your... Do you think there's quite a difference? Have you done it in other parts of the world as opposed to doing it in the Amazon versus, I don't know, where else?
For many years. When I was 24 years old, it found me and in the jungle in Goa, just me and this other guy. And then more people facilitating in Goa. And then, so lots of different facilitators over the years. And then in Bali, many different facilitators. So it's mostly been, in Bali and in India that I've sat, and where else? Yeah, in Peru. I mean, that's where I've lived for, the last 24 years. So in these places, but it's all over the world, every single country and every single city. It's just prolific now. It's kind of amazing. Like 24 years ago, nobody had heard of it, and it's become more and more popular. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do a podcast next with a guy, I guess call him the shaman that held the ayahuasca ceremony I went to. But I think it is an interesting one. It seems like it is having a moment because even like my fiance's younger sisters, they've heard of it from a young age. And I probably first heard of it when I was 24 and because an immediate curiosity. But like you're saying, I think there is this sort of pop-up, like a pop-up shaman kind of culture emerging where, to find someone doing it with integrity as right training. I think from my experiences on that stuff, I would never try hold an ayahuasca ceremony because I think you'd be dealing with very powerful stuff and it is wild that you have to know what you're doing. And I think those shamans in the Amazon, they train it's 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Proper guidance, the whole journey. What called you into a more plant medicine kind of path?
I don't know. I feel like it's in. I think I had to. I was very, very messed up. I was very, a full split personality, anger, frustration, a bit of abuse when I was younger, sent away to boarding school at the age of 8 in another country. Many, many traumas, didn't know how to connect to myself or another human being. There was a lot to unpack, but very free-willed. So I was, traveling a lot but I think I really feel I've done this, it might sound a bit out there, in past lives, I've been serving this medicine or I've been doing this healing work. So something about it, because it's not easy. It's not like it's like going to a club and taking MDMA, where it's all fun and joy. It's it's hard. It's like a marathon. It's uncomfortable. It's like putting you through the meat grinder, but you come out the other side generally incrementally better, So I've drunk a lot of medicine and I've done a lot of Kambo, and I would say that I feel just amazing, and I know that the more that you clear the internal world, the more the external world, the beautiful reflection that you receive. So, we have these incredible tools to be able to help us make these big transformations in life. We don't have to be stuck where our parents were. It's we can clear their patterns, we can clear their trauma, and then we don't need to give it to the next generation as well. So I think at this time, we have all the tools necessary, whether that's plant medicines or breath work or hypnotherapy, whatever your choice, to get you somewhere. It's the fact that we choose to do this, to look and transform ourselves, that it's, I feel things are looking up, even though the world's kind of a bit of a mess. I think individually, when you meet people, you see that actually people are a lot more aware now than 40 years ago or something.
Yeah, it seems there's a there's a massive shift between people looking more internally. I even think things like COVID and lockdown kind of forced people to be alone with themselves, and all of a sudden all the stuff pressed or ran away at work from came up, and you either had to work through it or not. But there's definitely an openness to these kinds of experiences, things like Kambo, plant medicine and stuff, and often from people you'd kind of least expect or like even when I speak to some older people now, and I think there's no way, and they're like, "Oh, I've heard you've done a mushroom ceremony," like, and they kind of want to hear more about it. But yeah, I was sitting at that same time. We've also got like this very psychological and analytical push on stuff, and everything's diagnosed and given a term and a condition and a label to all these problems. But it's almost like an over analyzing from the one side of the like analytical thinking brain, and we less learn to work with the intuitive spiritual quiet side, or the energetic side of feeling those energies, letting them go. So yeah, it certainly seems like the places you've lived are like almost the meccas for a lot of these kind of healing practices. Like Bali is certainly one where there's so many different practices, and it feels like there's a lot of charlatans, and then there's like some people doing some very real work,
It's all about the marketing. When you get these young life coaches, with not much life experience. But I mean, however people choose to make their money, I suppose, yeah. Whatever resonates for someone, however they choose to spend their money.
A holistic lifestyle coach and plant medicine integration therapist, but I'm not quite there yet.
Oh, so you had some training in it?
That's what I'm aspiring to
Amazing.
do. Before I am in the filmmaking thing, and I'm a bit career transition. It's that thing where I don't know, like you can only walk if you want to take someone to the top of Everest, you can't lead them there if you've only been to the base camp, and things you learn from life experience that maybe some people miss. And
it's experiential wisdom, isn't it? It's wisdom that you've actually lived. That wisdom you can really, really share. And I feel that's certainly. So the more experience you can get, the better. Yeah.
Well, that's part of the journey with this podcast, is I think just a curiosity from people and what kind of led them to their paths. So did you have a normal 9 to 5? Is this a part-time job for you? Or
no, I mean, I've lived off my creativity since I left the Western world. Whatever, jewelry, design, many tattooing, all sorts of things. So this is, obviously there's a financial reciprocity and energetic exchange, but luckily I have other avenues, to my business. So I've never advertised for this. It seems to work like magic. It's word of mouth, and the right people come, and the right amount of people come as well. So if I'm feeling a bit run down and sick, I'm not going to get people. Somehow it just works like that. And then when I'm really open and ready, it's suddenly they just come. So it definitely works like magic. I haven't had a 9 to 5, luckily, pretty much, forever really. So that feels good.
And I would love to speak about, if we could go through like what an actual Kambo ceremony looks like, because you touched briefly on the burns on the arm. So why is there sort of holes burned? Is Kambo substance you could ingest or smoke, or is it only done like
so for humans, it's the top layer of skin that's burnt, and we use like a special vine, or you could use like an incense stick, and it's just literally like dots like that, and then you scrape away the top layer of skin. So it's not like a big deal, but it's when you put the medicine on there, it goes into the lymphatic system. So it travels around the body and then into the bloodstream from there. Like for for animals, in the jungle, they just stick a bit for a dog, say. They'd put one on the nose and one up the bum. So I think it's possible to do it, if you did it like as a suppository, it would work. Say that again?
Did they also administer it to animals?
Yes, yeah. And I've administered to animals incurable diseases for dogs.
Oh, wow.
It's been incredible.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, for everyone, young children, they give, if anyone is sick, or it's not like, yeah, it's just used widely. And yeah, it seems to be a bit of a cure.
Is this in the Amazon, basically?
This is in the Amazon, yeah. So, I mean, I can...
Because I've even heard, I think it was like when Terence McKenna talk from the 90s or something, but he was saying that even some mothers will put the ayahuasca on the nipple when they're breastfeeding their kids to like introduce the baby at a young age to ayahuasca. But I don't know.
Yeah,
but
they probably had it in the womb as well. The mother was probably drinking while the baby was in the womb, so it's probably kind of used to it anyway. They're quite open, spiritually little babies. So yeah, would you like me to?
Yes.
Would you like me to explain how a ceremony would go? Would you like me to go
Yes,
into that?
yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, that would be...
Somebody will come, maybe 1, 2. Some people do big groups of ceremonies. For me, it's more intimate. People just come alone or with their friend or maybe a few other people. And then we'll go into the intentions, because I feel like the more that you're aware of what it is that you want to let go of, the more, and you can channel the medicine with your intention while you're going through the ceremony, I think the better it works. So whether you have, random sickness in your body, whether you have depression, in the Amazon, it's called a panema. It's like a dark cloud that's hanging over you. So it's for clearing this panema, clearing the cobwebs. All sorts of things, cancers, PTSD, depression, anxiety. Limiting self-belief seems to be a big one. A lot of us feel like we're not worthy. We're not worthy of, having money or of receiving love. So if you understand this about yourself, or you can pinpoint what it is that you're ready to let go of, energetic attachments, like you've had a relationship and it's finished, but you're still you're still entwined with this person. Clear that. Also, this is something that might sound quite out there for people, but parasitic entities, we have a lot of physical parasites, worms, things like that on our bodies. But we have the energetic body, the astral body. And these things are there. We can't see them. We don't even know that they're there. They could have been there for a long, long time. But once you have the awareness with the Kambo, you can shift these things. And I've seen people that have had depression since they were very, very young because of these things sitting there, and it's gone. So yeah, many, many different uses. So to go into sorry?
How do you think someone would kind of get a sort of energetic parasite? Like what would...
So it can happen... different. You could be born with them and just have it there, not notice it. Something generational trauma, some horrible accident, getting off your face on alcohol. When you're gone, these things can come in, like drugs, like meth, coke, things like this. If you really kind of get really wasted, then there's potential for these things to come in. When you go out under anesthetic, you're gone. When you take ayahuasca and the space is not held properly, you're open, because you don't have the skills, unless you've done it many times, to protect your energetic body. So these things can come in. It's very, very common, and it's it could be quite an extreme thing, or it could be something you just don't really notice until it's gone. So that's a whole other huge topic and field, and I've started doing healing around this as well, without any medicines, but actually just pulling these things out of people. So that's been quite an interesting tangent to my life. So after we go into the intentions, the more that the more we can pinpoint what it is, then the more people, understand what they can let go of as well. And then I'll serve some rapé. This is a shamanic snuff from the Amazon. It's ground mapacho, it's sacred tobacco, like wild tobacco. It's quite strong, ground with, different plant ashes and seeds. So everyone has their own way of making it. And this is blown with a pipe up into the sinus. It's very intense, but it's very grounding. And it's grounding, and also it kind of removes any resistance to receiving the Kambo, which can be a good thing. So then we sit in meditation for a little bit.
And what?
Yeah.
Okay. No, just back to the Mapacho, just quickly.
Oh, yes.
How do they view? Why would it be tobacco, and how do they view tobacco shamanically in the Amazon? Because it might sound quite weird for a Westerner. Like, why would you? Tobacco snuff. The
Mapacho is smoked. And it's smoked a lot in ayahuasca ceremonies, and it's used for blessing the land, for cleaning the energy of your body. And I'd never really kind of understood it. I'd done a lot of rapé, but till I was in the Amazon doing this Dieta, and then we were encouraged to smoke mapacho. And during the ceremonies, if you're on ayahuasca and you go outside and you smoke the mapacho and you blow it on your body, you feel like, the deepest cleansing. It's like this magical, it's like a sage, it's saging or something like that, but a lot stronger, I'd say. So they use it for protection, and for, just clearing energy. So I feel like it's a protective, grounding, it's quite a beautiful experience. And that's more and more common.
Am I correct when they smoke it there that they wouldn't inhale?
Yes, it's so strong. Yeah.
I heard, I don't know, like the truth in it, but I heard on or Red Bulls or something that it's like almost like a neutral spirit, and if it's not ingested, it's a very cleansing, powerful spirit, and if it is, then it like obviously. So to look at something like a nicotine addiction, you're looking at it now from like a spiritual perspective, and it's this neutral spirit that's very powerful that can either cleanse or take over. And in my ayahuasca ceremony now, I read the book Alan Carr's like How to Quit Smoking book, and I've smoked since I was pretty much 14, so it's about like 20 years of my life. It was, anyway, I went through the ritual of the last cigarette before the ceremony, and it was very powerful that when they came and blew the mapacho over, because that an hour, and it was almost like when someone was having a purge or a tough time, they would come and blow the smoke over you. And I felt with my eyes closed the actual tobacco spirit like permeated my vision, and it kind of cleansed the visual space that was happening internally. And then after the ceremony, I could see someone smoking afterwards, that I could almost like sense the spirit of this nicotine or tobacco that had been taken over them in like a negative way. So it was quite an interesting.
That is interesting, yeah.
Thank you. I haven't smoked since, which was like absolutely amazing.
Well done. Yeah. Nicely done. That's a big thing, isn't it?
Anyway,
to stop smoking. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then, so you do the
the rapé, and then I call in the spirit of the medicine, but just by saying a prayer, and I'll call in that medicine, and then I'll often give them the medicine to hold and just to connect with. They don't need to say it out loud. They can just sit there and really ask for the help they need. And then after that, we do the burns. So just where did the burns go? Where do they feel they would like them? Generally, it's on the shoulders or on the inside of the leg, but you can do it pretty much anywhere. You can do ear points, you can do chakra points. It's it's quite an intuitive process, but it works wherever you put it. It works.
And out of curiosity, like I know when you did the practitioner training, you were doing it all the time. So if someone does it frequently, would they use the same points?
No, I mean, you would leave those points and maybe go next to them, or like, you know, the inside of my legs is just there's tons of like little dots, because I just feel like I might as well just do it all there, you know. But I have, you know, shoulders, some on my back, my arms. I've done a lot, but so you wouldn't necessarily go over the scars. I think you could later, you know, a few years down the track, you could go on the same bit of skin. It's no problem. Yeah. And then so we do the burns, just, you know, decide where to put them, how many points to give, you know, and the way that a lot of people practice, especially in the jungle, or, you know, they just whack on a load of points and you're just floored. You know, it's really not a pleasant experience. Your face might swell, you know, but you don't need so much medicine. You just need enough. You need enough to be able to purge comfortably, but not so much that you can't actually work with it, you know. So it's about, for me, I used to be very hardcore. I've been doing it for 8 years, serving people. At the beginning, I'd be like, right, more rapé, mid-ceremony, come on, more purging, put on so much medicine. It was really intense. And now I'm a lot more gentle, because I see that you don't need to blow rapé into someone's nose halfway through a ceremony. It's more about their will to let go, you know, of what they're holding. And also to just play around with it, you know, have an intuitive feel as to how much they need, and maybe you put a bit more on. Okay, that's enough, you know. And so it's a more intuitive way of adding the medicine to find the right kind of levels. So after that, they'll drink 1.5 liters of water. And then I'm going to put, if they've never sat before, I'll put 1 point on just to see. You know, some people are so sensitive to it, and some people, not much. So you just never know. You really don't. Could be a huge man and he has 2 points and that's it. He's gone, you know. Or a tiny little man of 70, which I had once, I had to do extra burns on him. I was just like, wow, this is pretty hardcore, you know. So you just don't know. It's better to err on the side of caution, unless you've worked with somebody before or they've done a lot of medicine. Even then, it's all different. You know, in the jungle, if it's fresh, it's strong and it's fast. But medicine can last for many years if you store it well. And it's almost like it matures, and then it takes its time to build, you know, to gather all these toxins. And so you never know what you're getting. You know, it's a mix of these biopeptides. So, you know, one stick could be incredibly strong, one could be a lot weaker. Maybe one side of the stick is stronger, and then the other side is. So you don't know what you're getting really. So then the medicine will go on, and then after a few minutes, I'll add some more, and you'll start to feel like your heartbeat in your head, like. You might start to feel a hot flash come on your body. Some people start to sweat. You'll start to feel nauseous. Sometimes people can get a little swelling, you know, especially if you've had some like filler or something like that. It's like the Kambo's trying to kick out the toxins. So I've seen, you know, lips swell, like this, you know, quite bad ones. And then, sometimes people can have a little faint at the beginning. And that's kind of normal. It doesn't happen so much, but it's normal. It's like a little checkout, 30 seconds reset, you know, and then they come round. So normally once people have purged, it can be quite intense, and it's because you fast for at least 8 hours before. So normally I'll do it in the mornings. We'll eat the night before, and then it's not like you're purging stomach acid. You know, it's like you're just purging water. And these toxins, and often bile is pumped out of the gallbladder, and things pumped out the liver as well. So, you know, you can have pretty much all colours of the rainbow coming out in the buckets, and strange things like weird foams, black seaweedy things, you know, yellow, green. I've seen blue, I've seen black, things that really shouldn't be in your body. So, you know, you feel a lot lighter after they're out. So, people start to, sometimes people can get, like with breath work, your hands can go like this. So you can't really use your hands so much. And then it's just trusting the medicine, like holding that intention. Don't go into a place of fear, knowing that healing is not comfortable. So this is a fast track healing. So it's a lot of healing squeezed into a very short time. Maybe it's 20, 30 minutes, the actual purging. And once people have purged deeply and they feel like they're complete, we can take the medicine off and they can rest. And the resting is amazing, like 40 minutes or something, just to lie there. And it's very grounded, feels normally incredibly just lovely, and after 40 minutes, most people feel absolutely fine, ready to go hunting.
Yeah.
They feel fine. So you can get on with your day, no problem. You might feel a bit tired, like you partied all night. You don't need to kind of do anything. Sleep well. The next day, sometimes people feel great. Sometimes because it's still working with you and it's a purgative, you might have the next few days, like some emotions coming up or some strange synchronicities for you to look at, but it's, and then I always say, within day 5, it's really, everything's in alignment. And what I love about it is people, I don't know about other practitioners, but in my experience, people are always left off in a better state than when they came. Always lighter, always better. With things like ayahuasca, things like that, people can be left in pretty dodgy state, like psychologically a bit messed up, or this is not psychological or psychedelic. So it's just a physical, energetic purge. So it's very clear, generous medicine. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for everyone, the post experience can be a bit different. Like for me on the ayahuasca and the Kambo, it was a bit tough after for let's say like 5 days or so. Like for me, the ayahuasca when I did now, I almost had like this disassociation for like over a week. But it's something that it's obviously part of how my body reacts to the substance, and I've learned to just sit with that and be like, okay, but this is what happens to you for some reason. After that, there's like a way lighter,
I think as well,
more aligned feel.
When you even like, if you have a cry, you release an emotion. God, it's exhausting. You could feel so tired. So when you're releasing something like there's ancient, something that's been stored for such a long time, like a very big part of yourself, for you, the purge you were talking about, with the Aya, it's like, that's huge. Like whatever that was, it was something very, very deep, probably quite old, massive part of you. And when that's removed, it's like, wow, you can be exhausted as well. Like you've been hit by a bus, it's about just allowing the process to unfold as well. So sometimes people feel very good after. It's all different. But that's why I say allow 5 days, to integrate.
And I guess because I think either like you're obviously called to some kind of medicine like this, and then a lot of people, a lot of people go the, I guess, more traditional pharmaceutical route of, if you have depression and anxiety, then it's easier to repress it for a long period of time under pharmaceutical, because it's quite, for a lot of people, the idea of voluntarily puking for 30 minutes is just too much. But it's like you might feel like 100 times better after, and it's like, oh no. Or the ayahuasca thing, like I know for a lot of people I speak to, it's like, oh, it all sounds nice, but the purge idea is very hard to, like, I guess, you face. Where it's interesting, you'd rather, instead of, I guess, I don't know what it is, like, because you're choosing to sit with such discomfort for whether it's the Kambo and say it's an hour or it's ayahuasca and it's 4 to 6 hours or something.
I think
I think these medicines maybe take a lot of courage and I guess humility, because it was not the prettiest thing to purge, and it's not always from the mouth, you know.
You have to want to let go, you know, and I see this internal battle that people come for Kambo during the ceremony. It's like at the end they're just something in them doesn't want to let go because it's something so old that they've had for such a long time. So there's that little thing. But even coming to Kambo, you want to let go of this stuff. Same with ayahuasca. You want to look at yourself. And I think with Kambo and Aya, you know, some people don't want to lose control. So the thought of, say, psychedelics or being, you know, vomiting in a bucket, you know, this incredible discomfort is like losing control. So I think you're either on a path of wanting to see and wanting to transmute this stuff or just not. And that's fine, you know. I suppose each to their own. For me, I'm just so glad that I'm doing it, and I'll always do it because I see there's more and more and more. There's more layers to the onion. You know, it's like our stuff, but then there's the ancestral stuff. There's all the collective. It's, you know, it's like there's a lot. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot to heal, I think.
Do you think there's ever a point where someone's like, that's, you know, I've done as many ceremonies as needed, or is there, like you're saying, always another layer? Like I get my like, not concern, but it's like, I do think, and I have seen it, and I think I've also experienced it when I was younger, but like you can almost fall into like an obsession, into maybe that there's always something to go in and let go of, go in, let go of. So is like a fine line, or is that like an intuitive thing? So I think that's where for me the integration becomes so important. Where it's like, instead of repeat.
I think as and when you feel maybe you have years of a break, and then suddenly this opportunity comes your way, and you're just like, oh yes, I want to, or you're like, no. Maybe that is a no for 10 years, and at one point an opportunity comes to you and you're like, yeah, now I'm ready, you know. So I feel, you know, in every moment, that, you know, what feels right to you, like how deep do you want to go, you know, and life as well. I think it's all very well to do, you know, 100 ayahuasca ceremonies, but if you're not really living your life as just that addiction, you're not really integrating what you learn. You know, and sometimes only situations can show you things. It's not just that you drink medicine and you've learned everything already. It's that you have to go through the tests that life brings you, and you know, prove yourself in a way, or like how will you go through this experience? You know, I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say exactly.
I think, when you thrust into difficult situations that truly test you, maybe then you know how already healed you are. Because it's maybe easy when life's going a bit better.
And that's when you get to see whether you've actually learned, you know, what you've learned from these situations, or, you know, what you've let go of, I suppose. You know, when these things come to you, how do you react?
I'm sure there's also, I think it's like Ramdas or something. He says if you think you're sad, then go spend a week with your family, because they often, if someone pushes your buttons, they're the people that most likely put the buttons there. But you can see like your reactions still, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe there's still something to heal. But it is a journey, and I think it's probably worth touching on quickly that it's like all of these substances is not because I think part of me when I had started going down on plant medicine path, it's you hear of these anecdotal stories where someone's depression was cured overnight, or their addiction was fixed, or this and this miraculous healing. And I think it's worth noting that it's probably not going to be that, and there will be work and it will be tough,
I mean, I think if it resonates, try it. If you're stuck in a rut and you've got nothing to lose, try it. It's like, if I think it's better than sitting in just like discomfort for a long, long period of time. It's better to sit in discomfort for, half an hour and just see. I feel like, what have you got to lose? If you've kind of tried everything, and certainly, I think these things are here to help humanity wake up. Ayahuasca, there's a toad medicine, bufo, frog medicine, Kambo, mushrooms.
The smoke.
Yeah, this one is very interesting. I mean, this is incredibly powerful healing. People that are addicts could smoke it and not be addicted. It's a deep, deep healing. It's very powerful medicine. So that's quite important. Who facilitates that one. And but I think these things are tools, for humanity to step up its game, and connect to spirit again, and connect to Mother Earth, who is, we're from this earth. We're actually born of this earth, and we've lost all connection with it. We just, just really not much respect, of what we're doing to the planet, or, and obviously I fly around in planes, and, I'll eat some meat, and I, use plastic and all of this stuff. It's like, because maybe there's, so I am part of that, but I do love and respect, Mother Earth and these beautiful gifts that she's given us as well. Ayahuasca, Kambo, like to show people, like to connect people back to spirit and back to the magic of what this life is. Because, if you sit in an office and this 3D realm, it's like, that's real because I can see it, I can touch it. But, you can see 0.05% of the visible spectrum. There's all these other realms that we can tune into. So, if you have an incredible healing experience, even if you're like this non-believer that's like, oh, it's bullshit, fluff, and you go and you suddenly, this pain you've carried for the last 10 years has disappeared. It's like, wow, you're going to have a respect for this spirit of this medicine, or say ayahuasca, people transform their lives because suddenly they're tapped into something greater than the 3D realm, and we are beings of spirit. So if these medicines are here to reconnect us to all the magical aspects and the beauty of, nature that's all around us is free and abundant, it's all there. Yeah. So I feel like,
and the mystical and ineffable, like I think everything we're trying to explain or quantify or rationalize, analyze, and I think these experiences can open you up to, like, you don't have to understand everything, and there's workings that I think are beyond complexity that you'll never be able to understand. I wanted to ask if someone was called to, work with Kambo or plant medicine, do you have any advice for someone to find a practitioner? What would they look for? Someone holding a space with integrity? What are some key flags?
I would definitely, maybe have a recommendation, for Kambo. I feel like somebody doesn't need to be a shaman, i.e. tapped into the spirit world, holding that protective space, because I think Kambo does a very good job of that. It's more about your safety, how much water are you drinking? Are they going to catch you if you faint? So I would say experience, how long have they been doing this? And then do you have recommendations from people? And then sit there and have a Skype call or whatever, and sit there face to face. And how do you feel? Do you feel comfortable in their presence? If that's a yes, then all the boxes are ticked, then do it, with them. And I would say with Aya, be a lot more cautious because, you know, what is their training? How long have they spent in the jungle? How many diets have they done, you know, with these master plants? How deep have they actually journeyed with the medicine themselves? But say the one woman that I really know that is fully in alignment, this Westerner, she won't hold ceremonies of more than like 13 people. And she's like Gandalf, do you know what I mean? She's incredible. And she's had many, many years brewing and training. But that's plenty. And mostly if you're in the Amazon, they're not really doing ceremonies bigger than that. So, you know, ceremonies of 40, 50 people, I don't see that somebody can really hold that space with integrity.
No.
Who knows? Maybe they can, you know. So just, again, find out what training they've had, how long they've spent in the Amazon training, like what diets they've done. Ask them, you know, and how many years they've been serving this medicine. And just face-to-face chat, get a feel for them. Do they feel like the genuine article? Do they feel like good human beings, you know? So that's my advice there. Definitely more caution on the Aya front. Same with Bufo, because for this one, you're gone. You're gone. So you need somebody that really knows what they're doing to protect that space. That's, you know, that space where you are.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's my point.
I'm sure it was screen you correctly. You know, if they just kind of take you on without too many questions,
Well,
no. Probably ready.
If people get in touch with me, it's always through a referral because I've never advertised. So they'll get in touch with me and then I'll send them my information, like PDF, you know, about myself and about the ceremony and, you know, the cost and the contraindications as well. So this is important, you know, are people asking you the right questions? If you are going to sit, you know, are you taking Prozac if you're going to go and drink ayahuasca? Because, well, you could probably die if you do, you know. So it's like somebody needs to ask you this question. So yeah, same with Kambo, there's certain contraindications. If that's not asked or it's not written down somewhere, then yeah, these things are definitely important. What exact question again?
What are the red flags and advice for someone?
Okay.
Seeking, I think, yeah, like from my experience, I feel quite blessed in that I was lucky to work with two shamans that I think worked with a lot of integrity and power and training. And then the first guy I worked with was also like a Gandalf type character, you know, and it was absolutely, yeah, like incredibly beautiful, very well held space filled with, yeah, like immense power and stuff, and he passed away. And then I'd gone to another lady and it kind of felt like that commercialized, it had that aspect to it where there wasn't much interest in me and why I was there, or, you know, it was kind of like arrive for the ceremony, everyone does it, wake up, everyone's gone. There was like no chat or integration, and then they mixed ayahuasca with mushrooms, and it almost felt like let's give people as much of a psychedelic experience as they can so that they can leave a good review, as opposed to like having worked with the medicine with people and it felt a bit commercialized for me.
Yeah.
Not the last. For the last one was like he was recommended by the first guy into before he passed away, and it was a beautifully old like.
And I think once you've drunk medicine with people like that, it's like, why would you go and drink medicine? I mean, obviously, if you go to the Amazon, also
with the Shapi,
there you go.
they'd gone and so it's like
I mean, it's like you really have the real deal. It's like all of the other, like I wouldn't drink with any of these past people that I've drunk with. It's like I wouldn't recommend anyone else to either. But I think once you've experienced how it should be really held, then you can't go back. Really,
Yeah, I think it opened up. The difference, even for something like mushrooms, the difference when something is done ceremoniously and with integrity, and what that invokes in the space is as you said before, like a safe healing space where the right kind of energy is brought into there to help people let go and heal. And I think it's quite a world to be opened up to, and it feels like something very ancient and sacred that like people have done in small groups for a long time. So it's a very interesting experience that's seems to be coming back to the West for some reason, which is interesting.
I think it's because we need it. It's so detached. It's like so detached from. We think we're attached to what this is reality, but actually the reality is our connection with nature. You look at every other animal. It's like they're not on their phones all the time. They're just present, connected to what's going on around them. So I think it's so important. Like we need to reconnect to spirit, to nature, not in any fluffy way, but in a personal way, And I think these magical medicines do that job that's actually really needed nowadays more than anything.
I agree.
Mm.
Well, I think I'll end it off on that note. I think it's a powerful one. Connecting us to our own nature, really. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I hope it was a nice experience for you.
Yeah, it was lovely. My first podcast, Jared. So very nice to come on here and just sort of chat away. And thank you. Yeah, it's been lovely. Really lovely.